Uh,
There's that fucking live guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday. Live 5 in the Evil Epi Network, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type an I Newswire on those two channels. You'll see my nice smiling, shining face. You'll get all our archives and all that good stuff going on out there. Lots of goodies going on. Are we still paying for Kamala Harris's CHP protection? The Gavin Newsom orders. Ashley Zavala has some breaking news on that. She asked a question. Guess what the answer was? Had the old sneeze come up. LA County dropped precipitously in population. Guess where they went? Probably not where you think. If you're good listeners to this show, you'll know. Eric the Spy Swalwell, banging the fang and all that whole noise, running for governor of California, just got the California Teachers Association endorsement. Teachers back the spy. That's all you really need to know about teachers. We'll get into that here in a few minutes. Plus much, much more, but lead story of the day, as they say. Sheriff Chad Bianco's ballot count is back on hold. It was rocking and rolling Friday evening. The California Supreme Court, now, after the appellate courts shifted it back to Riverside County Court, the Supreme Court now has shifted it and put a hold on it. So now we're back in limbo of this. This we know. It's a political shot way through the bow. If there's nothing wrong, let Sheriff Chad count the votes and let's be done. If everything's perfect, cleanest elections in the whole wide world and the whole thing, let him count them. Why would you care? In fact, you should be encouraging it. The fact that Rob Bonta keeps blocking this, UCLA, that Sony this, and Clarissa Cervantes that, and Jose Medina, they'll run circles. Well, we don't like Sheriff Chad. Well, we don't like Donald Trump. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Well, then prove them wrong. There's evidence that shows, and Art Tanaka, the Register of Voters, has not convinced the Board of Supervisors everything is hunky-dory. They said at the big meeting a month ago, 2-hour hearing at the Board of Supervisors public, everybody got to make their case, Team Temecula, Tanaka, supervisors answered questions. At the end of the meeting, Chair Karen Spiegel of the Riverside County Board of Supervisors said we're going to have to reconcile. We're not. This is not going to end till we reconcile that the numbers match, and we're without question, or without any reasonable question. They're not there yet. The Board of Supervisors. They didn't say, yep, Tanako's cool, we agree with him 100%. Greg Langworthy, Niederrecker, Clint, whatever his name was, they're just whizzing in a 100-mile-an-hour wind. They don't know what they're talking about. No. They said, we are not going to end this, Board of Supervisors, until these numbers are reconciled. And we're not there yet. Just like Clarissa Cervantes, you're putting it up there that there was no oversight. Judge Keel of the Riverside County Superior Court put oversight. His guy was he was in charge, and he put his guy in charge of to oversee the count. Their arguments don't wash. Now, the California Supreme Kangaroo Court could just go, yeah, we don't like Trump, so we're just going to approve this, we're going to stop the count anyway. It appears from reports there's going to be filings now on April 1st and rebuttals from Bianco's side, rebuttals from Bona's side on April 3rd. They filed their briefs with the court. Then the court will probably schedule a hearing. As long as Chad's got the ballots, we're okay, because 6 months, I think May, the ballots had to be destroyed by law. So as long as Sheriff Chad has the ballots, 611, 650,000, or whatever it is, I believe we're okay. Once the ballots are destroyed, then it's a moot point. Again, I don't know why. Bona has never made it clear of what his objection is to Sheriff Cad doing a recount. Just that he had questions, or trying to say he doesn't have the right to do investigations or look into crimes or whatever in Riverside County, which is totally false. I don't think we should have to argue that point. But we shall see. We'll see what this week brings. By the end of the week, the brief should be filed. So probably the count will either be yes or no, or either be allowed to resume, or they will order Chad to return the ballots here. It's going to probably be more than a week from today, because they're just going to be filing their briefs by next Friday. So here we go, dragging the process out for no good reason. I say count the ballots. Courts have an overseer in there. There should be no problem. Is there only 611,000 ballots, as the evidence team Temecula has claims? Is there actually 657,000 pieces of ballot paper that Riverside County counted yes or no for the Riverside County Prop 50 election? Is fairly simple. And again, it's just shocking to me why they're blocking it. Trying to say, well, deputies don't know how to count. If that's the case, we're in much bigger trouble than just counting ballots. If we got deputies or Sheriff Chad's personnel are intellectually stupid that they can't count yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Yeah, we have 390,000 yes, 257,000 no, or whatever the number is, and that's it. It's about as simple as it gets. So let's cut the crap. I don't see what the delay is, other than just to try to obfuscate. And hey, I guess Rob Bona's just flying it to stop the count. He's trying to get any means he can. He's going to throw everything out there. The big question is why? My answer is, in my opinion, there's been a lot of shenanigans going on in elections throughout California for decades. And we need to get to the bottom of it. And I think this one can go a long way to proving one way or the other. We'll get to the spy Swalwell and teachers backing him for governor. We'll have Dr. Kelly Victory at the bottom of the hour and much, much more on today's show. It's very interesting how we roll with all what transpires. As they say, this one also broke very late, I think on Saturday actually, which was highly unusual. California teachers, are we not giving me, there we go. California teachers back Eric the Spy Swalwell for governor. So they got SEIU, California firefighters, he does. The only big-time union, and then there's a scouter shotgun 12-gauge all over the place with the rest of them. The only ones that have not filed are most of the cops, like the prison guards, which usually pack a big punch in this, sheriff's associations and whatnot. I have not seen a lot of endorsements from the cops yet, but pretty much everything is solidified now. The spy Swalwell should have a little bit of money coming from those. We'll see how much it affects him, or with the tech bros dump supposedly coming of $100 million on Matt Mahan. Is that going to just cannibalize the vote? I don't know that the teachers and SEIU and stuff have the power. People are even starting to doubt them, coming a lot from this show and others. And it's about time. When teachers will back a jackass like this, California teachers, go look at all you soccer moms polluting the air, making us die because you got to transport your little kiddies one by one to school and make a cluster foxtrot of that. Say, oh, evil Roy does this. With a teacher, go look your teacher in the eye and say, why are you backing? Or maybe you don't care. Just like Gavin Newsom, maybe you don't care that the Chinese Communist Party can send a honeypot fang over to bang bang Eric Swalwell. That's what you want to show your kids. That's what your teachers want your kids to emulate, is Eric Swalwell. They want them to sell out to the Chinese Communist Party. And please, California Teachers Association, Chris Faria, whomever, of the Merino Valley Educators Association, come on in. Tell us why you're backing Eric the Spy Swalwell for governor. And is that the message you want sent to kids? You know what the message is. You're buying Swalwell, so he'll keep your money train going. $190,000 a year prorated if they worked a full year is the average what a California public school teacher makes in California. You're not poor. You're not starving to death. You can shove that one where the sun don't shine. You're greedy. All you care about is yourselves. It's all, students, this and that. Look at the performance. If you cared about those kids, you would not have let the education system deteriorate to the point it is. Because based on merit, not a one of you. Well, hardly. Maybe there is a one of you. 98.7% of you do not deserve the salary you're getting for the product you're putting out. And that's the facts, Jack. And they won't dispute them. This one, they just came out with a study from LA County, sees largest population decline in the U.S. Now you might say they went to Texas or Florida or South Carolina or Tennessee or Idaho or Nevada or Arizona. The biggest part of the exodus from LA County has been to the Inland Empire. The population we've seen in the Inland Empire increase, by and large, probably 85% of it, 90% of it is LA County residents that have moved in the last 10 years. LA County is still the most populous county, but it's under 10 million and it's been declining for 10 years. It was getting close to 11. Now it's down to about 9.7. They've lost close to 1 million population. And the California population has stayed steady, about just at that 39.5 million, right in there. We've been kind of leveling off for the past 6 or 7, maybe back to 10 years. But most of that migration out of Los Angeles County has been right in the Inland Empire. The biggest amount that have left. That's why our schools, we've lost a little bit of population, student enrollment, as they say in our schools. Not like LA. LA's almost half. They're only 60% of the enrollment. They were almost 800,000 10 years ago. I think they're below 500,000 now. 477, I believe, is the last number I saw. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to that. Not only on top of that, they've been leaving the schools, some of the most destructive schools in the entire world, which at one time were some of the best in Los Angeles County, LAUSD, and surrounding areas. And they're just they're almost at the crime syndicate level, Moreno Valley, of 1 in 4 kids are not, only 1 in 4 are proficient in math, science, and English. Reading, however you want to say it. And that decline is projected to go for another 20 years, and the increase in population almost exclusively. The Inland Empire is slated to grow about 2 million, estimated in the next 20 years. Over 1 million of that is going to come from LA County, as they drop to about projection of about 8.5 million. We're slated to go up to almost 7 million by 2050, 25 years. So, and a lot can change in that. But I mean, just at the current trends, projections of what's going on. But yeah, that LA County exodus isn't very far, because they're just going down the 10, down the 60 freeway, right into the Inland Empire. Donald J. Trump. And he's been taking a lot of flack lately. And even for me, this war thing and not releasing the Epstein files. And I'm not giving up on Trump yet. I'm not throwing him under the bus, because no matter, to this point, anything Trump has done, we're in far better shape than if we would have had Comrade Kamala Harris in. So, typically, I think Secret Service protection for the vice president, the outgoing vice president, as Kamala Harris was on January 20th, 2025, is 6 months. Biden extended that, I think, to 2 years. Trump peeled it back to 9 months, which expired close to the end of last year. He actually extended it 3 more months than the law currently states. At that time, our ingenious governor, gay boy Gavin Newsom, gave Kamala Harris protection from the California Highway Patrol that we, the dummies of California, are paying for. Well, she's buying new, the digs that she had in Bel Air weren't good enough. She's buying new, new houses and everything else. She's worth tens of millions of dollars, and her husband's no pauper either. He's a very successful attorney, M-Hall. But we're paying for that for her book tour and all that. This is absolutely stupid. The great Ashley Zavala is on the scene asking, hey, how much is this costing? Gay boy Gavin won't give her an answer. Oh, this is surprise. Hopefully, here's a KCRA report. Here we go.
California taxpayers are former Vice President Kamala Harris's personal security as she travels the country for a book tour.
Political director Ashley Zavala is the first crew to report this story. She's here now in the studio with what we've learned so far.
Golston and Andrea, multiple sources tell me California taxpayers have been and continue to pay for the former vice president's security detail. Dozens of California Highway Patrol officers have been traveling with her in and out of the state, and in some cases, the country.
Dozens? A California Highway Patrol officer, well, let's say if he's just a community service officer, a patrol officer is going to cost us about $350 grand a year. Okay, that's putting them in a car, yada yada. If they're on security detail, probably about $250,000 a year. Dozens? Dozens? A dozen's going to cost you $3 million? Dozens? How many has she got all the time? More from the great Ashley Zavala. Here we go.
For her book tour. Everyone we spoke to for this story acknowledged the intense political moment we're in right now and the threats facing her and people in both political parties. But we're asking the question, don't taxpayers deserve to know how their money is being used? With several stops left on her
I can answer that. From gay boy Gavin in California, the answer is a resounding no. We've been living that nightmare for about 3 decades.
Nationwide book tour, Vice President Kamala Harris continues to use California Highway Patrol officers as her personal security. Multiple sources unauthorized to speak publicly about security matters told KCRA3 she has dozens of officers that have been traveling with her for nearly 6 months and counting. The long list of stops have included cities across the country, plus London and Ontario. The tour continues through California this month before stops in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. She's promoting her book, 107 Days, a memoir about her brief campaign for president after Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race.
Are we paying for the plane tickets for the CHP officers? To go to London and all that? They must be living large. Not criticizing the CHP, I mean, but they shouldn't be patrolling the streets, keeping our highways safe and running and clearing out accidents and all that, like they're supposed to be doing. Instead of watching Kamala Harris, she's got enough money to pay for her own private security times 10. As we said, she's not a pauper, for crying out loud.
Governor Gavin Newsom's office, which ultimately approved the protection, said it does not comment on security arrangements. State officials won't provide specifics or say how much it's costing. Sources tell us there are still credible threats against her.
Do you have a sense of how much this could be costing taxpayers?
All I know is it's a lot. It is a significant amount of money.
Retired California Highway Patrol officer and Republican Assemblyman Tom Lackey said state law allows for her protection because she served as California's Attorney General.
We're living in kind of an unstable environment right now, and so it's really hard to predict.
What kind of an a-hole law provides for protection for a former Attorney General of the state of California? What's it been? 2018 was the last time she was Attorney General. 8 years later, we're paying for security for a former Attorney General. This is horse ass. $349 billion in the budget is not enough because they keep doing dumbass things like this. Here's more from Tom Lackey, our great assembly member from Palmdale.
Circumstances and people's behavior, and so she deserves that kind of protection. But where the slippery slope starts to show up is the personal gain aspect, right? When someone's making an opportunity to make money, should they be provided that same protection at taxpayer expense?
The public obviously is entitled to know what the cost of that CHP personnel is.
Adjunct McGeorge School of Law.
Yeah. On top of that, are we paying for Javier Baccaria? He was a former state attorney general. What about the insurance commission? What about when Laura goes out? Calfart Laura. We going to have to pay for it? How many state officials do we have to pay for security or are paying for security? And if they're not paying for former Attorney General, Dan Lundgren. He was a former governor too. Well, no, he was a candidate. He got beat. He was former state Attorney General. He was a congressman for a while, I believe. We paying for his? If we're not, then why are we paying for Kamala Harris's? It's plain horse ass. Here we go.
Professor and longtime California lobbyist Chris McCaley said former state elected officials don't typically get this kind of protection, including former governors.
I think folks have to examine the precedent being set, but when it comes to is it the right thing to do? Yes, but how much it is costing taxpayers?
No, it's not. What the hell? Why does a former whatever, like Calfart Laura, what about Tony Thurman, when he hopefully is out of public office here in November? Are we going to have to pay for his? Are we paying for Torkelson's, the former superintendent of public instruction security? We got CHP officers, dozens around Torkelson. How about Gray Davis? He was a former governor. Arnold. There's another example. Arnold, pays for his own personal security, I'm almost positive, and has the ability to do it. He's a former governor, Moonbeam Brown. Former governors, maybe. How about Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante, if he's still alive?
That they should know.
I reached out to the former vice president for comment and more information on all of this. Again, sensitive to the security situation, but I asked her spokesperson.
Oh, I'm sure she dropped the phone or just stopped everything and called Ashley back with an answer on that. Yeah.
About the costs associated with all of the travel for those dozens of officers, and if she's reimbursing the state for any of these expenses with the money she's making on that book tour. We are still waiting for a response. We would also be remiss if we didn't mention that California has been grappling with back-to-back budget shortfalls, and every penny should be accounted for.
You think that number should be made available for everyone. So where's the federal government on this right now? Excuse me. And does any of this have to do with President Trump revoking her security privileges?
Sure, and it depends on who you ask about this. Former vice presidents under law typically get 6 months of federal protection once they're out of office. Before leaving office, President Joe Biden quietly extended Harris's protection to July of 2026. A source in the Trump administration told us instead they allowed an extra 3 months for vice president.
See, there you go. A former vice president, we only give 6 months of protection. Go ask the Judas Pence. 6 months and he was done. Biden revoked it, or didn't revoke it. He got 6 months of Secret Service protection, then 0. Absolutely stunningly. Kamala Harris should reimburse the citizens of the state of California for every penny the CHP has provided for her protection. Period, end of story. And no, it is not. I disagree with them wholeheartedly. There's no reason that we should, maybe for 2 or 3 months or something.
Right now.
We may do that. But that's absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Okay, you got 1 minute, Roy. 1 minute, Roy. Dr. Kelly is with us.
Okay, so yay, there you go. We've got a minute left before we join the Mighty Met KMET again. Kamala Harris should 111% reimburse us for every freaking dime of highway patrol or any protection the state of California has given that witch.
Okay, 30 seconds, Roy. I'm going to put you on now so you can hear Roy coming in.
It's
Dr. Kelly.
Absolutely freaking ridiculous that we're paying for that, and she should reimburse the citizens of the state of California.
Here we go, 10 seconds.
Paid for protection for that.
For those who support America, patriotswitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the form of today and band. Join your vast video audience in the EVP Network, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe. Type in IE Newswire Roy Blecker. You'll see my nice smiling, shining face, or you can get our archives of that. Like you can catch the first half hour of the show. Sheriff Chad Bianco, late Friday after we came off, the show late Friday night, the California Supreme Court stopped the counting of the ballots in the Prop 50 election to once and for all figure out, is Team Temecula correct? Is there 45,000 missing or phantom votes? Or is the ROV correct? The Riverside County Board of Supervisors is not satisfied. They want the numbers reconciled. Rob Bonner, our Attorney General, and these goonballs like Clarissa Cervantes and Supervisor Medina and Sunny or whatever from USC suing and all this stuff. Hey, like I said, let him count the ballots. The court's overseeing it. Jake Hill provided an overseer, which Clarissa Cervantes at their press conference Friday was incorrect in saying, oh, Chad's overseeing it. No, the court is. He's doing the recount. Let him count them. And I've said, if Sheriff Chad comes back and says, hey, ROV's right, these numbers match, fine and dandy. If not, if Team Temecula is right, there's these 45,000 phantom ballots or votes that were counted that do not have a piece of paper with a yes or no behind them, then we need to figure it out. The spy Swalwell got the endorsement of the California Teachers Association to go with SEIU, which is most of the public employees around here. So we'll see how all that shakes out. I still say the Icky Eight are in big trouble, and we still might get Sheriff Chad and Steve Hilton coming out as the top two. And won't that be a heck of a ride? Ashley Zavala, as you heard the report earlier, if you were on, she has been doggedly pursuing the California governor, gay boy Gavin Newsom, on this whole protection we've been doing with the CHP of Kamala Harris, of all things. Dozens of CHP officers. I can tell you, dozen CHP officers is probably costing about $3 million a year. And we've been on this, for 6 months? Whatever the number is, we deserve. She should pay back every penny, and she's got the bucks, to the citizens of California for every dime of protection we paid to that witch. But as we usually do on a Monday, we have, as I've determined her, the supreme physician in all the world, expert on COVID-19 and just about everything else, Dr. Kelly Victory. Welcome to iNewsWire with Roy.
Hey, Roy, good to be back with you on a Monday. And I'll tell you, if we ended up with Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton as the two front runners on the gubernatorial ballot for California, I'm not sure. It would be like just, I would do the happy dance. It would be a Christmas in, come early. I don't even know what to say. I keep my fingers crossed that might happen. But given the Democrats' propensity to cheat, you really can't count those chickens quite yet.
No, you can't, but the possibility every day, as I say, the icky 8 Democrats are spreading this all across. They're splitting this vote up very equally. And like I say, even if they dump, look, Tom Steyer went from 3% to 10%, spending $100 million. If the tech bros spend, or they're claiming they're going to spend $100 million on Matt Mahan, well, okay, he goes from 3 to 10%. They're just going to cannibalize vote from Swalwell and the other Democrats. They're just going to cannibalize this vote all over the place. I don't think, and again, my thing, and I put it up there, the thing that really breaks my heart about this whole thing is the teachers backing Eric the Spy Swalwell. And we know the whole thing about the Communist Chinese Party sending Fang to do the bang bang, all that, and that the guy is compromised. Teachers, and I put it out there, teachers of California, all you moms are running around saying, oh, my teacher this and that, and they're great. Your teacher is backing Eric Swalwell the spy with all this stuff going on. So be sure this is what you're backing, and go to your teacher. Go and look your teacher in the eye and say, either support, is this what you support? Is this what you support? Is this what you want your kid to be taught? How to be a spy and how to sell out America, Dr. Kelly.
I'll tell you, Eric Swalwell is an absolute card-carrying idiot. I mean, he fell for the oldest ruse in the book. But the idea that the teachers' union is backing him should not be surprising. The teachers' union has zero interest in educating your children or what's good for your children. They have shown their cards over and over and over again. Frankly, honestly, Roy, it is because of the teachers union that I have been so invested in getting rid of the Department of Education. We really need to unwind the entire thing. They supported and backed during COVID unbelievable things that did nothing other than pad their own wallets, feather their own nests, and harmed children up and down the state of California. The idea that they are now backing Eric Swalwell is just one more sort of drop in the bucket. But you're right. Parents should go. They should go to the PTA meetings. They should go and address and confront teachers individually and say, if this is what you are supporting, then we don't support you.
This is why in California today, 12 years ago, we were spending $8,000 per student K through 12. The new budget proposed by Gavin Newsom is $27,000. These California teachers, if you prorate their salary and benefits for a whole year, are making $190,000 per year. And the education, less than 4 in 10 kids across the whole state of California, is worse here, are at grade level in reading, writing, arithmetic, and science. Their performance does not anywhere close come to the amount of money, and most of that increases went directly into their pockets, Dr. Kelly.
Absolutely. Look, in no other industry would this be tolerated, Roy. If you're the football coach and the team loses, you're going to get canned. You don't get a pay raise. Okay, if you're the CEO or the COO of a business and the business loses money, the shareholders turn and they say, you got to go. You get canned. You don't get a pay raise. Only in education does the teachers union fail to deliver. We have a decreasing percentage of kids year over year who are up to grade level in reading, writing, and arithmetic. We are falling further and further behind, yet they continue to give the teachers' unions the teachers pay raises and act as if throwing more money at this is going to fix the problem. The problem isn't lack of funding, because other states do it for far less than the state of California does. The problem is we have an incompetent, highly politicized group of people called teachers in California who have failed over and over again. And as I said, I maintain they have zero interest in educating your children.
1,000%. I mean, that has been one of the absolute crimes against the future of our kids and the future of not only the state but America. This thing that's been going on. And I think in the last 10 years, they've spent over CTA, California Teachers Association, teachers, have spent over $200 million on campaign contributions in the state of California. They are by far, not even close, the biggest contributor to candidates all across this state. And the only reason, don't give me this, they are lying to your teeth when they say their union is about kids or nothing. Their union only has the purpose of getting them more money, more benefits for less hours of work. It's the only reason any union exists. They don't care about anything but that, and technically they shouldn't. That's their deal. But don't jerk us with the crocodile tears or the emotional this and more. I agree. More, parents, if you want your kids to have a future, you should be going to your PTA meetings and school board meetings and saying, enough of this crap, Dr. Kelly.
No, I agree. And it's really, I mean, when you look behind the curtain at what they've been teaching kids, it's not only a failure to teach the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, grammar, those sorts of things. It's not just a failure at that. It's the thing they're successful at teaching is gender ideology, race ideology. So it's worse than just not teaching your children what they need to learn. Instead, they are supplanting that and teaching them things that most parents don't want their children learning. Most parents don't want their second grader learning about transgenderism. Most people would rather cover that stuff at home when or if they think it's appropriate. So it's really the double whammy of failing to teach them so that they can keep up, so that they can compete on a global scale and in a global marketplace, but instead they are pushing these far, far left radical ideologies. They're doing it, I believe, to further and further weaken our society, to make boys feel like being masculine is a bad thing, that being white is a bad thing, that being smart, scoring well is a bad thing, that being religious is a bad thing, that loving your country is a bad thing. That's what they are teaching.
Switching gears, you put something up on the X machine, which I thought was absolutely stunning. Former Pfizer chief toxicologist Dr. Helmut Stearns testified at the German parliament about a couple weeks ago. He straight up said, the mRNA COVID shots skip proper cancer risk checks because of time pressure. Take it away, Dr. Kelly.
Absolutely. Listen, as you know, Roy, I've been preaching about this for 6+ years. There is a reason why the average vaccine takes 6 to 8 years to make it to market, if it ever makes it to market at all, because there is no substitute for time. You could throw all the money in the world at something, at a vaccine program, but nothing will replace 12 months, 24 months, 36-month safety and efficacy trials. Those were not done on these mRNA shots, and as we now are having more and more scientists finally admit, and he was a Pfizer scientist, we didn't do any studies to look to see if these shots might induce or increase the risk of cancer. Just the lipid nanoparticles themselves, the little fat globules that were included in the shots in order to carry the mRNA in, we know that those are cancer-inducing, let alone the 17 other mechanisms that have now been defined by which this particular mRNA induces cancer. So now here we are, years down the road, 2026, after millions and millions and millions of people have suffered. And frankly, unfortunately, when it comes to cancer and cancer injuries from the vaccine, we have only seen the tip of the iceberg. Some of the early things, blood clots, neurologic issues, those sorts of things reared their heads early on. But cancer is going to be a lagging indicator, and we are going to continue to see cancer rates rise. The studies were never done. And finally, we have a few honest scientists who are saying now what I said 6+ years ago, which is that we are going to see a tsunami of cancer as a result of these shots.
What really struck me about the post on top of the cancer was he called the rollout a vaccine tragedy, and Dr. Helmut Stearns estimated tens of thousands of excess deaths in Germany alone. That, if that doesn't get people's attention, or how, you talk about the whole, where are these clowns that were doing the Nose Kings protest? If they had a scintilla of brains, this is what they would be protesting about, Dr. Kelly.
Yeah, I want to talk about a king. I mean, I think it's laughable that, no kings, and they're referring to Trump. How about Fauci and Biden and the people who were in power during COVID who mandated that you had to get one of these toxic shots if you wanted to work in a hospital? Who mandated it if you wanted to stay in the military? Who mandated it if you wanted to get on an airplane, go to a bar, go to a baseball game, attend somebody's funeral, go to the hospital to see a loved one, and on and on and on. Talk about overreach, tyranny, absolute, dictatorships. That happened under Joe Biden and Anthony Fauci and the CDC and the people who were in charge during the pandemic. The idea that you're calling Trump a king is absolute insanity.
Switching gears again, you put up another thing on the X post. The CDC doesn't want you to see this data, new V-Safe data. These numbers see it, and they don't look good, Dr. Kelly.
Again, the V-Safe data show unequivocally, Roy, that the harms from the mRNA vaccines are so horrific. They absolutely not only, again, cardiac issues, neurologic issues, autoimmune issues, certainly cancers. And the V-Safe data shows that. This is not my data. This is data that the CDC itself, under Anthony Fauci, was collecting. You have to remember, VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, is owned by CDC. They're the ones who designed it. It's not like I designed it or some other, quote, anti-vaxxer designed this system. It was designed by the CDC. It's their issue. So people have reported these, and we know that the things that are reported to VAERS is a vast underestimation of the actual issues. They estimate probably 10% at best are captured there, which means you can add a multiplier of 10 to all the things that you see in that V-Safe data or in the VAERS data. Unfortunately, we still have a mainstream media that refuses to report on it. We still have the vaccine manufacturers being protected from liability by the Childhood Vaccine Injury Act that was passed in 1986. We still have politicians, including, unfortunately, President Trump, who has not come out and said clearly, look, it certainly appears from the data that have rolled in that this vaccine was problematic, and we need to put it on hold until there can be a full analysis.
Looking ahead to what's with all the information that's coming out, and you and many others predicted this, like you said, starting 6 years ago. Where do you see us in the next year, 5 years? What is our healthcare system going to have to be dealing with? And I don't think it's going to be good, but what say you, Dr. Kelly?
Well, there's no question we are going to be dealing, as I said, with the fallout from these shots for years to come. We will have excess burden, not only in cardiac and autoimmune issues, but certainly in cancers for at least the next decade or 2 decades. Unless they really dial back on the childhood vaccine schedule, which was Robert Kennedy Jr.'s attempt and HHS's attempt until it was at least temporarily put on hold by this rogue district judge, Brian Murphy, who just put it on hold and is trying to unwind everything they've done. Unless we wind that childhood vaccine schedule back, we're going to continue to see escalating rates of things like autism. Unfortunately, there's so much politicization of this system. I think you're going to continue to see the medical freedom movement moving forward, people opting out of the hospital system, doctors opting out and saying, I don't take insurance. I want private pay patients. I can offer better service, better care for less money than you are paying to Aetna or United Healthcare, or whatever medical insurance you have. So I think we are going to see a parallel health system really propelled by the atrocities that happened during COVID rather than being suppressed by it.
Got a couple minutes left. Anything else our audience should know? Go.
Well, as you know, I keep very close tabs on what's going on in the still open position of Surgeon General, since that was a role I had truly hoped to be playing in this administration. Dr. Casey Means, who sat for her first Senate committee hearing, has now been put on ice, and just Sunday, President Trump said that they may actually withdraw her nomination for Surgeon General, which is laughable because we are now well into the second year of President Trump's administration. You may have noted we don't have a Surgeon General. The first nominee, Jeanette Nashwatt, was removed because she had lied about her credentials. Casey Means, the second one who's been put up now, is a really horrible nominee. She did not complete her training. She dropped out. She doesn't have an active medical license. She's never treated patients outside of her training when she did that years ago. She's got very questionable qualifications to do this, and it really appears that she's going to wash out as well. So it's, again, going to be a blight on HHS and on what they've been trying to do. I certainly hope they get themselves sorted out and figure out who they're going to put up there if it's not going to be Casey Means.
Thanks for being on, Dr. Kelly. We'll do this again soon.
Talk soon. Thanks, Troy.
Dr. Kelly Victory, as we say, saying it only as she can. Oh, man, it's absolutely stunning at times. Some of, that we get ignored. 39 years ago, somebody dug this. I thought this was interesting. This was Barbara Wawa in a 2020. It was back when you didn't have all these options. That was like a big deal. Donald J. was on the show. Here's a brief clip of that. Here we go.
Because I'm running for the presidency. I'm here because I'm personally tired of seeing this great country of ours being ripped off.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do we mean we take their oil?
You go in. You're
how
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me. Yeah? You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
That was Donald Trump 39 years ago. Well, we're there. I sure hope we get a resolution to that whole thing. I just drove by $5.50 a gallon for gas, $6.50 for diesel. This stuff has got to stop. I mean, if this continues much longer and we don't get oil price, gas price back down and get our economy back on track, it's going to get ugly. I hope Trump gets back on track, and we need the Trump that came in the first 6 months. Get Elon Musk, get Doge back in. We need to, just like the California budget, that 50% gain that we jumped in the federal budget from pre-COVID 2019, Trump going out into COVID, and then Joe Biden keeping it, and now Trump keeping, we were at what? Like $4 trillion, now we're at $6.5. A little over $4 trillion average. Now we're at 6.5, and that started with COVID. And it's continued. And it needs to stop. The weight, there is tons, and I even think I'm almost sure Elon was low on the 20% fraud. Which would be about 1.3 trillion? I'm going to say at least a third. We could cut 2 trillion plus, let's say 2.1 trillion out of the budget, and still have a strong military to protect the United States. We get to revive the economy, put more money back in the pockets of the American people. We would get confidence back in the dollar because we won't be just this ballooning debt. We need to figure this out before the situation, as some say, deteriorates any further. And we're in a quagmire like we were during the COVID situation for a different deal. And the military's one that needs, the military budget needs to go. It needs to get back to the Defense Department, or the defense budget. We could cut about $250 billion out of the military budget and get it back, and it would still be an adequate defense budget. And the list goes on. Hopefully, cooler, smarter heads will start to prevail. Or the voices Trump should be listening to, like Tulsi Gabbard. Hopefully they peel him back. We shall see. It's going to be an interesting ride. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon by any means yet, but I will call it as we see it. That'll do it for today. As we usually say at this time, it's mandatory that you're back here in 23 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The proceeding was a...
All right, Roy. Yeah, I still think the Democrats are going to weasel some candidate into the top two, and the idiots in California are going to fucking vote for him.
Well, we're going to see. Every day I keep telling you, it gets more likely what I propose happening is going to happen.
I hope.
They're splitting the vote up, and everybody's going a direction. Nobody's backing up on the icky 8. They're shotgunning this thing all over the place.
Yeah.
I can tell you their side is very nervous about what's going on.
Oh, yeah. I just hope you're right, because God help us if they weasel somebody into the top two, and because all the idiots in California.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter at that point. Any of the Democrats are going to do exactly the same thing, so it doesn't matter. To me, I don't care what if we're going to elect one of them, put Katie Porter in there, make for great talk radio.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you got to have a benefit out of it. Turn apples into applesauce or something.
I guess.
let's see how it shakes out. But we haven't had a chance like this in a long time.
All right, Roy. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it.